Madam Clerk, at this time, if you would read the verdict for the court, please.
State of Florida versus Amanda Elaine Lewis, case number 07282CF. Verdict: Eugene E. person.
Okay, members of the jury, the clerk is going to ask each of you. Okay. All right, your jury service is complete at this time.
It was 2007 when Amanda Lewis lived in Esto, Florida with her 2 children, 7-year-old Adrianna and 6-year-old AJ. When Adrianna was younger, she had been diagnosed with ADHD, which caused her to be hyperactive and act out. Because of her hyperactivity, Amanda has always said that she struggled to form a bond with Adrianna and was always telling her daughter off. Her son, AJ, on the other hand, was more quiet and shy. Amanda worked as a nursing assistant, and on the 8th of August 2007, she completed her night shift before coming home that morning. Amanda says that when she got home from work, the kids were watching the TV, so she went to sleep. Later that day, she was planning to take her kids shopping for school supplies. Amanda later woke up from her nap, so she started to get ready while her 2 children went outside to play. AJ came in a few minutes later and told his mother that Adrianna was inside their swimming pool. Their swimming pool, in their garden, was 18 feet wide and 4 feet deep, and the ladder they would use to climb into the pool was locked inside a shed by Amanda to prevent her kids from going in there. When AJ told Amanda that his sister was in the pool, Amanda just assumed he meant that she was playing next to the pool, so didn't do anything. AJ then went back outside while she stayed inside the house getting ready, but when she didn't hear anything more of her kids, she decided to go outside. That's when she came across AJ at the side of the pool struggling to get Adrianna out of it. Amanda raced over to the pool where she saw Adrianna face down in the water. She then called police.
What's wrong, ma'am?
My daughter fell in the pool and she's not breathing.
Where at, ma'am?
In Esto.
Ma'am, what's your address?
3343 First Avenue South.
3343 First Avenue South.
Yes, down the road from the post office at the very end.
What's your phone number, ma'am?
850-263-0759.
And she's not breathing. How old is she?
She's 7 years old.
All right, hang on just a second, ma'am.
Oh, God.
Just a second, ma'am.
Her lips are purple. What do I do?
First Avenue South. 334 First Avenue South. Ma'am?
Water's just coming out of her nose.
Yes, ma'am?
Huh?
You said water's coming out of her nose?
Yes, I've got her on her side. It's just coming out of her nose every time I move her.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Please hurry.
Rescue? Yes, ma'am. I've got them on the way. I'm going to see if they can do something to help you. Hang on just a moment. Rescue 1, they're advising they've got her laid over on her side. Water's coming out of her nose. Is there anything they can do till you get 1012? Hang on just a second. Does she have a pulse, ma'am?
No, she's not got nothing. She is purple.
She don't. Hang on just a second.
Everything's purple.
She's advising she's purple, no pulse, no breathing. Hang on just a second, ma'am. 10-4. Okay, ma'am, I've got rescue on the way, and I'm fixing to get you someone else, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to call you right back in just a few minutes. Ma'am?
Huh?
We've got them on the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After arriving at their home in Florida, paramedics decided to airlift Adrianna to the hospital with her mother, and AJ was sent to his grandparents' house. At the hospital, after a careful examination of Adrianna to determine her condition, the lead doctor came out to explain what was going to happen from now to Amanda and what they would be doing to save Adrianna's life. Amanda replied to this by saying, "Where's the vending machine?" Adrianna was then pronounced dead after this. Hearing the news that Adrianna had sadly passed away, her mother showed no emotion. Police put her death down to an accidental drowning, suggesting she had fallen in while trying to remove insects out of the pool, then ultimately drowned. This was what they thought until they got a call from AJ's grandparents claiming that AJ had been saying something concerning, so police brought in AJ to talk to him.
Adrianna was trying to escape from Mama, and then Mama pulled her back in the car. And then once they got back home, Mama threw her back in the pool. And then she started drowning again.
Adrianna started drowning?
And then when she had to take a shower, my mom told me to go get her. And then when I was standing in the wagon, she was dead.
Has your mom ever done anything like that before? She has? Has she ever thrown you in the pool? Has she thrown Adrianna in the pool?
The bugs out of the pool. She said Adrian said she didn't want to scoop out the bugs by herself. And then Mama told her to go do it. And maybe she stopped. And then she messed with stuff when I was asleep. And I didn't hear the spray because I smelled something when I woke up.
A while ago you said you'd been getting on the bus.
I didn't get on the bus.
You don't ride the bus? Then what happened?
When Mama got up, Adrian was still spraying spray. And then Mama told her to go in the room.
Told who to go in the room?
Adrianna.
Then what?
When Mama woke up again, she started to put Adrian. She told Adrian to scoop out the bugs with Mama. And then Mama went to check the mail. And then Adrian said she didn't want her to do it by herself. That's when Mama dumped her.
Tell me about that.
I couldn't see it because it was going to be dangerous. So Michael took me in the house when Adrian was dead on the ground. Because Mom pulled her out the pool. And then she was purple. Her lips were purple. And then brown water was coming out of her mouth. She slammed the cabinet door.
Who did?
Adrianna.
Where was your mama at?
In the bedroom. When Mama heard the spraying, she smelled something because she has a vent on the top of her door.
And what happened?
Mama started coming out.
Can I go now?
Step out? Yeah, that's fine.
Tell me what you mean when you say dunk. Somebody dumped somebody.
Mama dumped my sister,
What does that mean?
drowning.
Can you tell me how that happens?
When Adrian messes with stuff today.
Today?
So
Who was in the pool?
Adrian,
Did your mama get in the pool?
nuh-uh. Adrian was just in the pool with Mama. But Adrian was laying like this and Mama holding him like this so she wouldn't scream.
Today?
Yes, so
Then what happened?
Adrian started screaming when Mama took her hand off of Adrian's face
Where were they at?
at the pool.
Why did your mama have her hand on her face?
Because she was dunking him.
Was she? Why was she dunking her?
She messed with this boy and she played in the water.
She played in the water.
And then she started messing with Mama's stuff. Her thing that she washes her foot with, and her hair spray and all her in a brush. And then I got out the tree because Mama told me to go get Adrianna, and then I found her dead in the pool and I had to go get her.
Why'd you go to get her?
So, because my mama told me to.
What did your mama do today?
She was sleeping, but when she got off of work, she was sleeping until Adrian started doing something that she didn't supposed to.
Did your mama do any work around the house?
This interview with AJ took place only 4 hours after Adrianna was in the swimming pool, and when told of the allegations made against her by AJ, Amanda said none of that happened. 6-year-old AJ's story would constantly change and he would sometimes contradict himself. In one version he said he had been getting on a bus, then he said he didn't see Adrianna in the pool, then he said he had been on top of a tree when he witnessed the drowning, but detectives noted the tree he was talking about would have been impossible to see the swimming pool from. Police found it suspicious that before giving birth to Adrianna and AJ, Amanda had a baby that had died when she was found in her crib not breathing. The baby's cause of death was from a stroke or a seizure. Amanda was charged with her daughter's murder that September and she agreed to take a polygraph test. When she took the lie detector test, she passed, showing she had been telling the truth. Prosecutors offered her a 10-year sentence if she would plead guilty, but Amanda refused, stating that she wasn't going to admit to something she didn't do and said she wanted a fair trial instead, so her trial began 6 months later in February 2008. At the trial, AJ was brought in to testify against his mother, and at first, he didn't realize she was even in the courtroom.
I told you your mother was in the courtroom here today. Would that be the truth?
No, so.
That would not be the truth. Why is that? Because she's not in the courtroom?
No, so.
Okay. So your mother is not in this courtroom?
No, so.
Okay. And you're telling me that that is the truth? That your mother is not in the courtroom?
Yes, so.
Okay. Where is your mother?
Jail.
She's in jail. You don't see her in this courtroom, do you?
No, so.
Because she can't be here. She's in jail, isn't she?
Yes, so.
It would be impossible for her to be here in the courtroom, wouldn't it?
Yes, so. Yes, so.
When is the last time that you saw your mother? Do you remember?
No, so.
Has it been a long time?
Yes, so.
Who do you live with now?
My Aunt Carla.
How about this man? Have you ever met him before? The one that was asking you questions, Mr. Walter.
No, so.
Okay. How about Miss Kim right there? Have you ever seen her before?
No, so.
All right. Seen her before?
Yes, so.
Who is that?
My mother.
Now you recognize your mother?
Yes, so.
All right. Okay. Look at me, AJ. This time we're ready to proceed, Judge.
You may proceed.
I still object to this witness's confidence.
And your objections noted for the record. Previous order of the court is still in.
AJ, do you see these people sitting over here?
Yes, so.
I met these people yesterday for the first time. And I told them today that Adrianna was dead. Is she dead? Going to have to answer so they can hear.
Yes, so.
They want to know how Adrianna died.
Yes, sir.
Now, I wasn't there, AJ, was I?
Nothing.
Did she do anything to get in trouble that day?
Yes, sir.
What did she do, AJ?
Spray some spray on the windows.
Oh, yeah? Why was she doing that?
I don't know.
Was she spraying any other spray that day?
Yes, sir.
How did it smell?
Awful.
Awful? Okay. Where was your mom? Where was your mama when she was doing that?
She was in bed.
Okay. Did she wake up?
Yes, sir.
All right. What happened to Adrianna when your mother woke up?
She got grounded.
All right. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us about that.
I can't remember.
You can't remember?
No, sir.
Were you inside or were you outside?
Inside.
Did you go outside that day?
No, sir.
Now, at some point, did you and Adrianna go outside to play that day?
Yes, sir.
What were y'all playing?
Tractors.
Tractors?
Yes, sir.
Where were you playing with those tractors, AJ?
I can't remember.
All right. You got a red wagon, don't you, AJ?
Yes, sir.
Where was your red wagon that day?
In there.
Over there?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that close to like a four-wheel trail or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, your wagon's not in that picture. What happened to your wagon?
My mama just pulled it all the way over to the pool.
Over to the pool?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This pool, whose pool is that?
Owls.
Alan? Alan Carnley?
Yes, sir.
Who is he?
My Aunt Carla's boyfriend.
Okay. Aunt Carla's boyfriend.
No, my mama's boyfriend.
Okay. All right. So, did y'all live with him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I was just checking. Now then, how did that wagon get there?
My mama pulled it all the way from there.
Yeah. From this picture, she pulled it from there.
She pulled it from there all the way back to
Okay.
here.
Recognize this.
Yes, sir.
Who made this?
I did.
Okay. Now I see some writing on here. Did you write that on here?
Yes.
Where did you make this? Do you remember where you made this? Were you visiting Miss Lynette one day when you made this drawing?
Yes, sir.
This diagram right here that just has your writing on it. Did you do all of this and do all of this drawing?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me, AJ, what is this right here?
My pool.
Your pool?
Yes, sir.
The one that was in this picture that we just saw a few minutes ago?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who is this right here?
Me.
What are you doing, AJ?
I'm just playing.
All right. Were you playing with anything?
Yes, sir.
What were you playing with?
That.
Okay. What's that supposed to be?
I can't remember.
Okay. You can't remember?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is this right here?
A tree.
Were you playing in the tree or around a tree?
In the tree.
In the tree. Okay.
So,
Now, what is this right here? Who is this or what is this?
my mama
Okay. And what is she doing?
killing my sister,
How is she doing that, AJ?
putting her hand over her face.
This?
My mother,
And who is this?
my sister,
What is this right here?
my mother's arm.
Your mother's arm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What does this mean right here? She did.
Died.
What?
She died.
She died, okay. You mean your sister died? Okay. What this too bad, what does that mean?
That means it's scary.
It was scary. When this was happening, could you see it?
So,
Was that a yes or a no?
yes.
Where were you? Could you give the pad, please?
She would? How would she get the bugs out?
Get inside the pool.
She'd have to get inside the pool. How did she get in there?
The red wagon.
The red wagon, right. So she got in the red wagon to scoop out the bugs, didn't she?
So,
And then she fell in the pool, didn't she? That's how she got in the pool, right?
so
How did she get in the pool?
she stepped over the side.
She stepped over the side. From the red wagon?
So,
And then she started screaming, didn't she?
so,
Adrianna can't swim, can she?
so,
Is she afraid of the water?
so,
Did you try to help her?
so,
What did you do?
hanged onto the legs.
You hung onto the ledge? Did you start yelling for help from the army men? Did you see the army men and start yelling for help?
No.
You know an individual by the name of Amanda Lewis.
Yes, sir.
How did you know her?
She was a CNA on the wing that I worked on.
Certified nursing assistant.
Yes, sir.
Did you work with her last year, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I want to draw your attention back to May of last year, toward the end of the school term, whether April or May of last year. Well, before we get to that, was it a common practice with some of the nurses or CNAs there at the nursing center to bring their children to work with them in the mornings?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and why is that, ma'am?
We brought them up there and we put them on the bus. We walked them to the bus stop in the morning.
All right. And then by the time school was out, the shift was almost over, and
Yes, sir.
get the children and be ready to go home, or they
Yes,
could
sir.
stay till the end of the shift.
Yes, sir.
I gather you might have done that on occasions yourself.
Yes, sir. Mine every morning and every afternoon.
All right. And Miss Lewis, did she also do that, ma'am?
Yes, sir. She brought the children up there to get on the bus in the mornings,
All right.
and they rode back in the afternoon.
Toward the end of the school year last year, was there one occasion, one morning that she brought the children in that stands out in your mind?
Yes, sir. She came in very, very angry that morning. Walked around the nurse's station, come through the door, very frustrated, threw her hands up. She was like, "I'm going to kill her. I can't take it anymore." And one of the other nurses who was kind of sitting behind me, she put her hand up and she said, "Hang on, Amanda." She said, "You need to come with me. We need to go back here and talk."
Where were the children?
Adrianna was right behind her and she was crying.
What did you do to Adrianna that morning?
Well, the other nurse took Amanda back to the back, and I took Adrianna and I put her on my lap. She was crying, and I asked her, I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Mommy's..."
Well, can't really get into that, okay? We got some
Sorry.
evidentiary rules here, okay?
But I had her.
Did you console Adrianna?
Yes, sir.
All right. When Amanda came in and said that morning, what was her demeanor, ma'am?
She was just like at the end of her rope that morning.
Okay.
Like she just couldn't take it anymore.
Okay. And she said that in front of her children?
Yes, sir.
And you say this other lady took it upon herself to intervene and
Mother, Amanda Lewis.
Yes, I did.
Do you see Miss Lewis in the courtroom?
Yes.
Was Miss Lewis involved in her child's progress there at the school?
Yes, she was.
Would you call her and talk to her?
Yes, and if I had any problems, she would call me back. She seemed like a very concerned parent.
Okay. And what would happen if Adrianna had a bad day and wet her pants? What would happen?
She actually came to the school and picked her up the day that she did wet her pants. It was later in the afternoon, so really there was no need for her to come back to school. It was, I would say, 1:30 in the afternoon, and we get dismissed about 2:30, 2:45.
Did Adrianna make progress through the first grade?
Oh, yes. She was a very bright student, and she had a lot of potential. She loved to read.
She loved to read?
She loved to read. Anytime we came for the mid-year conference, and we had that with every child to discuss their behavior, their academics, and just basically their progress in first grade and how well they'll do in second grade, and she came for that. She came for awards day. She came to eat with her child from time to time.
And basically, Adrianna was sort of a normal first grader then.
She was.
Did you when she came to school, was she on time, or was she one of those kids that's always late? Or
No, she always came on time. We never had any problem with excessive absences.
Was she dressed appropriately?
Very. She loved wearing dresses and skirts, and one thing I can remember about her is first thing in the morning she would come to my classroom just to show me what she had on for that day, and she loved to have her hair done in different ways, and she would show me, and I would always joke around with her, telling her that I would want what she had on, and it just seemed to make her feel good about herself, but she was a beautiful little girl.
Now as a teacher, are you all educated or schooled to look for signs of abuse
Yes,
among
we are.
your children? And did you ever detect any signs of abuse?
I never saw any bruises. She seemed very happy, and we taught every day. Gracefield Elementary is a very small school, and I don't have a big class. I had a very small class, so we were very close. All my students and myself were very close. And she loved her brothers. She talked about her mother in high regard.
Okay. And you never had any concerns about her being abused or not being taken care of? Or...
No, I did not.
Okay. Thank you.
His mom came outside from the house and said, "What?" And I guess he said, "Come look at what Adriana's doing." Nothing. She's just laying in the pool. His mother then called Alan, and Alan told her to call the ambulance.
What did he say about it when he demonstrated emotion that his mother made? Of course, we can't see that because we don't have the tape here. But what was he indicating to you that his mother did when she came outside?
He made a motion as if she was going to throw up.
You ever seen her mess around in it when there weren't nobody around? Mess around with it, go up to it, or anything like that?
Well, Daddy told me that one time she had the wagon next to it and trying to fill up a bucket of water. And he told her to leave the pool on and put the wagon in the backyard in the fence.
Your daddy seen her trying to do that? When was that? Do you remember?
No, he didn't tell me when it was.
How long they had the pool?
Since about the beginning of summer break, like June or July, something like that.
Did you ever get in the pool with them?
Not in our pool. I got Aunt Penny's pool with them.
Did they go over there to that pool a lot, or?
We only went over there twice with them, and Adrianna never got in the water until last time. And Miss Amanda was trying to teach her how to swim, and AJ just pulls onto the side, goes around the pool.
Do you know why the ladder weren't out there at the pool?
My ladder wasn't out there. Their daddy keys are locked in the shed so they wouldn't get in the pool.
Okay. That makes sense. But you think your daddy saw her get in the wagon and get a bucket of water out of the pool? Ready what she's going to do with a bucket of water?
What do you think happened, Adrianna?
I don't know. All I know is the wagon was up in the, next to the pool, and I think it was that bucket Daddy was talking about was in the pool. I don't know what happened. All there was a bruise on her forehead. And the gun was laying next to the pool wall. I keep thinking it was AJ hit her with the gun and she fell in.
You think he did something like that?
I don't think he would, not on purpose.
That day. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were staying there at your dad's at the end of last summer, when he had the pool, did you ever see Adrianna get in that pool or to ask to get in the pool?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever see her playing there at the pool?
They would play around it.
Around it? What would they do?
They would like throw the ball for each other and catch it. Sometimes they would lay in the pool and they try to get it out, but
They would do what?
they would try to get it out.
Okay, and how would they do that?
I'm not sure. They just
Okay. Walk up to the pool and try to get it out? Were there any rules about that pool when the children could be around it, when you could be around it, or when Adrianna and AJ could be around it?
I don't know.
Did you ever see Adrianna try to clean bugs out of that pool?
No, sir.
How about AJ? Did you ever see him try to clean bugs out of that pool?
No, sir.
Who would clean the pool bugs out when it needed cleaning?
My dad or Amanda.
The ball out of there, was that Adrianna trying to get it out, or was that AJ trying to get it out?
I don't remember.
All right. If you looked at a summary of the statement that you gave the officers, do you think that might refresh your memory if you looked at something on there? Okay. Look at this right here, read that, and then if that refreshes your memory. Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who had tried to get the ball out?
AJ.
Okay. AJ's wagon, where did that usually stay?
In the woods most times.
Over
Or
there
around
on the side of the, excuse me?
It would stay around the house or in the woods where you'd play at.
Okay.
I'm now 29. 28, I'm sorry.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
Have you been able to sleep?
No, sir.
You've been able to eat?
No, sir.
You heard the statement that was played here today, the statement that you gave the police the day that this happened. Did you tell them the truth that day?
Yes, sir.
When you looked out and you saw AJ standing in that wagon, was there any water coming over the pool at that time?
No, sir, there wasn't.
Did AJ get wet at all?
No, sir.
Did he have to change his clothes?
No, sir.
When the police got there, was he wet?
No, sir.
When you got out there to your daughter, how were you able to get her out of the pool? Were you able to do what Alan Carnley's doing in this photo or something similar to that?
I had to stand beside the pool and lean toward her.
Did the pool collapse when you leaned against it?
No, sir.
You see Alan Carnley up there. Was that sort of what you were doing, reaching into the pool?
Yes, sir.
And how were you able to grab onto Adrianna?
I was able to reach far enough to grab her foot.
And how did you get her over the side of the pool?
I pulled her to me and rolled her over and got her out.
Okay. Again, did the pool collapse when you did that?
No, sir.
And then what did you do once you got her out?
I got her out and put her on the ground and tried to give her CPR.
You said in your statement you're not very good at CPR.
I took the class in my CNA certification, but I've never had to do it.
Okay. So you took a class, but you never actually had to do it in real life?
No, sir.
Were you able to get water out of her?
There was water coming out, yes, sir.
Were you ever able to get any response from her?
No, sir.
Okay.
I did not love her.
Did you ever tell anyone that you knew you didn't love her like you should?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that you didn't feel like you had bonded with her?
Yes, sir.
And as I understand it, this instant that you were just discussing with your lawyer, this is about the magic markers. What did she actually do now? What did Adrianna do?
She took the permanent marker out of the console of my car and wrote on the inside of my car.
Now this was one evening when y'all were getting ready to go to Dothan. One afternoon when y'all were getting ready to go to Dothan.
Yes, sir.
What'd she write?
She wrote the word loser in my car.
And you switched her tail, or you spanked her, you said?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then the next morning when you went into the nursing home, you were still irate about this, weren't you?
Well, yes, sir. It was still inside my car.
Okay. I mean, you had what, 12 or more hours to calm down about it, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you discipline her for doing this?
I spanked her.
Okay. Put her to bed?
No, sir.
Went on to Dothan?
Yes, sir, I did.
When you came back, put her to bed in her bedroom?
Yes, by that time it was late at night and we did go to bed.
Okay. Now, was that in May of last year, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Toward the end of school term?
Yes, sir.
In that bedroom where she didn't have a light in the bedroom, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, in fact, Adrianna got a lot of spankings, didn't she?
No, sir, she didn't.
Well, did she stay in trouble a lot back then, ma'am?
She did get in trouble, yes, sir.
She got a spanking for trying to put a bulb in that light one time, didn't she?
She did, yes, sir.
Okay. And you used to discipline her by grounding her in her room, right?
Yes, sir.
And that room, you will agree, didn't smell very good, did it, ma'am?
No, sir, it didn't.
It smelled like it reeked of urine, didn't it?
She wet the bed constantly.
It reeked of urine, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that you went to work one time and told your workers that Adrianna busted up a TV and you just closed the door and let her have at it?
I told them she broke the TV. I did not say she busted it.
And you just closed the door and didn't get upset?
Well, all she did was jam a tape in the TV.
Okay. So you didn't tell them that she busted the TV?
No, I did not.
Was that the TV that was up there in the closet?
Yes, sir.
And that wasn't working, right?
I couldn't get the tape out, so yes, sir, it didn't work. I had a permanent marker in the console of my car, and she got that marker, and all through my car, she wrote with permanent marker.
Just wrote all over the inside of the car?
Yes, sir.
That made you mad?
It did, yes, sir.
Okay. Did you lose your cool and beat her for doing that?
I didn't beat her, but yes, I did spank her.
Spanked her? And you told your co-workers about you were upset about that?
Yes, sir.
And you said, I could kill her. That's what they said.
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you say that? Did you mean it?
Not in that form, no, sir.
Miss Lewis, did you drown Adrianna?
No, I didn't.
Did you have any reason that day to be mad at her?
No, sir.
Had she done anything that day that would have made you as mad as you were that day when she'd written all over your car?
No, sir.
You said it was a good day in your statement. You remember that?
It was.
Were you all looking forward to going shopping?
Yes, sir.
Were you looking forward to school starting back?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have. wrong?
Yes, sir.
Did you have to take her to a doctor? You mentioned in your statement you had to take her to a doctor.
Yes, sir. The last phone call that I got from the school, she had gotten in a fight, the little girl. And I had called to Laurel Oaks in Dothan and took her there.
What is Laurel Oaks?
It's a behavioral center.
And how long did she stay there?
6 days.
Did she also have difficulties with AJ?
Somewhat, yes, sir.
Did she ever exhibit any violence towards him?
There was one incident where Alan and I had stepped outside, and when we come back in, she had a knife pulled on Andrew.
She was threatening her brother with a knife?
Yes, sir.
How would you deal with a situation like that?
I didn't know how to deal with it.
Okay. And you sought professional help for that?
Yes, sir.
Now, other than staying at the hospital, did they teach you how to cope with behavioral problems? Was that part of the treatment up there? And did you have to go up there and learn how to deal with your daughter?
I didn't there. When she started seeing Dr. Handel, he referred us to a gentleman that came out to that clinic at his office, and we had started learning how to cope with it.
Okay. Did things get better because of that?
Yes, sir, they did.
Did she improve in school?
She did start getting better.
Okay. And you heard her teacher, or the last teacher that she had, came in and described her. From your vantage point, was your daughter behaving better and doing better in school?
Yes, sir.
Had she quit threatening the other kids?
After that last incident, I did not get another phone call.
Okay. But she still did wet her pants from time to time, didn't she?
Yes, sir.
And was that frustrating to deal with that?
Somewhat, yes, sir. But I had the same problem when I was little.
Oh, you did? Well, how did you deal with it with Adrianna? I mean, you just lose your cool and hit her or slap her? How would you deal with a situation where she wet her pants?
On incidents when she would wet her pants, I would take her in the bathroom and change her clothes and make her sit on the potty prior to putting her clean clothes on.
Okay. Now the summer when you got the pool, was she still wetting her pants even during the summer?
Yes, sir, but it wasn't as frequent.
Okay, so she was improving in that regard.
Yes, sir.
And were you trying to teach her to swim?
We were trying to teach her to swim, yes, sir.
How far or how advanced along was she in terms of trying to learn how to swim?
She really wasn't that advanced. She had learned how to paddle.
But how about holding her head underwater?
She did not like her head underwater.
Okay. Did you try to, as part of teaching her to swim, did you try to get her to put her face in the water?
No, sir.
You didn't get that far with her?
No, sir.
How about AJ? Could he put his head under the water?
He would go underwater.
Could he swim underwater?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we've heard that maybe a short period of time before this incident happened that you took away some toys from the kids.
Yes, sir.
What happened there? Why did you take their toys away?
I had on numerous occasions a week prior to taking the toys to try to get them to clean the room, and they wouldn't, so I took their toys.
Okay, did you throw them away?
What was broken, I did throw in the trash, and what was not broken, I took to the mission in Graceville.
Okay, so you gave the toys away.
Yes, sir.
And why didn't you just beat them? You know, they won't pick up their toys. That's certainly a form of discipline. Why didn't you just beat them for not picking up their toys?
I didn't think it was enough to whip them. I just took the toys.
Okay. Now, it
is true, when you got there that morning at the nursing center, in front of your daughter and son AJ, you started spouting off, I could kill her. I've had it with her, I could kill her, didn't you?
I was not that loud, but yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I wasn't there. Would you demonstrate to the jury how you said it that day, ma'am?
The two nurses were sitting right in front of me on the other side of the nurses' counter, and I told them across the counter.
Okay. Would you tell us as best you can remember what you said that morning?
I told them that I could have killed her for riding in my car.
In that calm of voice?
Well, not that calm, but yes, sir.
Well, if you could, and I realize it's been almost a year ago in May, but if you would, I'd like for you to do it as best as you did that morning, okay?
I could have killed her for riding in my car.
And it was that way. I could have killed her.
Yes, sir.
And you said that in front of Adrianna.
She was on the other side of the counter, yes, sir.
Didn't fall over in that pool when he was in there trying to rake and get his sister out of there, did he?
No, sir.
And did you say didn't any water come out when AJ was trying to do that?
He was not wet, no, sir.
And in fact, no water came out when you tried to rake over there at her, did it?
Yes, sir. The front of my clothes were wet.
Well, where were you raking trying to get her out at, ma'am?
On the opposite side that the wagon was on.
Did the pool collapse when you were raking in there after her?
It went in, yes, sir.
And it just collapsed?
It did not collapse.
So when you got off of it, then the water quit coming out. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that in this statement that you gave to the police officers the night that your daughter was pronounced dead, that you said that you went out to ask AJ where his sister was, where Adrianna was?
Yes, sir, I did say that.
Okay.
I stepped to the front door. I did not go outside.
And according to you, what happened at that point?
He told me that she was at the pool raking bugs, playing around the pool.
Now, AJ was where?
In the trees at the side of the property.
Now, let me see if I understand this. That would have been the trees over on the left side of the trailer if we're looking at the trailer. Is that where you're saying he was? Okay. So you would have had to holler at AJ. Is that correct?
I did not have to yell, no, sir. He seen me come out the door.
Okay. And what did he do?
He just looked at me.
Were you on the phone at that time?
No, sir.
And so you go out the front door and stand on the porch and say, AJ, where's your sister? And AJ said what, ma'am?
She was around at the pool, playing around the pool.
Okay. And what did you do at that point?
I told him to go around and tell her to come inside.
Did he say she's cleaning the pool? Cleaning bugs out of the pool?
I don't recollect, but I believe so.
Adrianna was afraid of the water, right?
She was afraid of going under the water.
Adrianna didn't know how to swim, did she?
Not very well, no, sir.
Adrianna never went swimming even with you and Alan in that pool the entire time you had it, did she?
Yes, she did.
So Alan was mistaken when he came in here. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir, he was not in the pool, but maybe 1 or 2 times with her. It was mostly myself and my son.
Now, you've had an opportunity. You heard him testify
Yes, sir.
today and earlier this week, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear him testify that I have never seen her in that pool?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. So are you telling us that he was mistaken, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Well, isn't it true that Adrianna did not know how to swim?
Not very well. Yes, sir.
Well, not very well. When did she learn how to swim?
She could paddle her arms and legs just enough to keep her face above the water.
Okay, she could?
Yes, sir. But not enough that I would let her go out by herself.
Did you have any rules when you got this pool?
Yes, sir.
I mean, everybody has rules when you get a swimming pool like that when you have young children, right?
Yes, sir.
For instance, take the ladder away to keep them out of the pool unless y'all are out there with them, right?
Yes, sir.
Stay away from the pool unless an adult is out there, right?
Yes, sir.
Don't play in the pool or around the pool unless an adult is out there, right?
Yes, sir.
But that day, August the 8th of 2007, when you went out on the front porch, not talking on the phone, and AJ said his sister was over around the pool, she was trying to get the bugs out of the pool, that didn't cause you any concern whatsoever, did it?
Yes, sir.
And that's the reason you ran right then to make sure that Adrianna was not around that pool, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
been on the phone for several minutes, or at least a few minutes, before you go outside and talk to AJ?
I was not on the phone when I went to the front door, no, sir.
You know, I'm a little tired, and I'm sure you are too. But if I understand what you've told me, ma'am, when you walked to that front door that day, right here, are you talking about AJ was somewhere over here?
Yes, sir.
In the streets? And then you went out.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went out this front door here and stood on the porch, right?
Yes, sir.
And you said, AJ, where's your sister? Right?
Yes, sir.
And he said, she's over there by the pool, getting the bugs out, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you went inside and got on the phone and called your boyfriend and looked out the window to the pool, right?
Yes, sir.
So your boyfriend couldn't have heard AJ talking because you were inside when he was running over there to the pool. You didn't even have your boyfriend on the phone when you went out there on the porch, did you?
No, sir.
You didn't get him on the phone until you went back in, right?
Yes, sir.
And AJ didn't come back in. You saw him out there hauling or raking over there at something in the pool, and that's when you ran out the front door.
Yes, sir.
So, were you mistaken just a few moments earlier when you said your boyfriend heard AJ talk on the phone? Or was he mistaken, or what is it, ma'am? Or are you just confused?
Neither one. I said he heard Andrew talking to me from the pool, not from the front.
So, you're inside the house. Andrew's 60-something feet away over there at the pool, standing in the wagon trying to get his sister out of the pool. And the door's shut on the back door, and your boyfriend there?
No, sir. I had opened the door.
You had opened which door?
The sliding glass door in the back of the house.
And that's what your boyfriend was hearing, was AJ screaming from way over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But he couldn't hear you screaming at AJ, could he?
He should have been, yes, sir.
He being your boyfriend.
Mr. Carnley.
Your boyfriend couldn't hear you hollering at AJ or for Amanda, could he?
He should have been able to, yes, sir.
But he didn't, did he?
Apparently not.
That's because you weren't screaming at AJ. And AJ wasn't out there. It didn't happen that way, did it, ma'am?
Yes, it did.
You're having a little problem keeping your story straight, aren't you?
No, I don't.
Is your testimony today that little Adrianna was wanting to learn how to swim?
Yes, sir.
And that she was not afraid of the water?
No, I did not say that.
Well, you said she was afraid to put her head under the water. Are you telling us now she was afraid of the water?
Of putting her head under the water, not of the water itself.
So when y'all went up to your sister-in-law's pool, Penny Martin, and Amber saw all of this going on, and you were trying to force Adrianna out there in the water and threatening to dunk her, she was mistaken too, I suppose. Is that right?
What she seen was me trying to teach her how to swim. And I told her that if she wouldn't relax, that I might drop her. I did not say that I would dunk her.
So Amber has it wrong too. Amber's mistaken too.
Apparently so, yes, sir.
How long did it take you to call 911 after you found your little girl face down in that pool that afternoon?
When I got her out of the pool and put her on the ground, I picked the phone back up because I still had Alan on. And I told him what had happened, and he told me to call 911 then.
In fact, Alan had to tell you to pull her out of the pool, didn't he?
He said to get her out of the pool, yes, sir, as I was pulling her out of the pool.
Did Adrianna like to read?
Yes, she did.
I've looked at those photographs. I didn't see any books in the room.
She didn't have any books at home.
You didn't throw those away, did you?
She didn't have but maybe 2, and they were torn.
So you threw those away?
Yes, sir.
Condition Adrianna Hutto was in when she actually came in the emergency room?
When we first got her, she was still in clothes. Essentially, some of it had been sort of cut away from her chest so they could do their compressions and such, but she was unresponsive. Her pupils were fixed and dilated. Her hair was still wet. She was kind of cold, pale.
What did you or the people around you then do, ma'am, to try to save this little girl's life that afternoon?
We try to warm them up. If they're cold, we try to warm them up. We use whatever we need to at that point, but if, sometimes just they come in via the ambulance, they get cooled off because they're wet or whatever. We try to put in several, we usually try to get in 2 or 3 good IV lines so that we can push our medications. We use what we call ACLS protocol, which means there's a certain list of what you do depending if they have a heart rate or if they don't. If they're breathing, you're basically breathing for them. You're doing CPR, which means you're compressing their chest and pumping their heart for them, establishing that has a good pulse, checking oxygen levels. We do blood gases, send off labs, chest x-ray.
Did you see any improvement, or were you able to actually get a heartbeat or a pulse rate that afternoon, ma'am?
After we'd gone through about probably almost between 8 to 10 medications, dosing of bicarb, epinephrine, adrenaline, these kind of medications that we use. And we did get some cardiac activity back. I actually got a pulse without compressions, and I thought we were going to bring her back.
I believe at some point you say you quit the chest compressions and she was placed on a ventilator. Is that right?
We had her on a, she was intubated from the time she came through the door, and she always had somebody either breathing for her or the machine was hooked up to her. And we were trying to get the machine hooked up to her when she started having spontaneous pulse back. We were trying to put her on a established machine so that we could get her ready to stabilize and transfer her. And at that point, I'd already been in contact with Tallahassee Memorial in the phone in the room, and I'd been talking to a critical care pediatrician that I like to refer to and ask questions to. Not long enough for me to, she had a pulse, and I looked up and I talked to the people in the room, and I was going to leave the room to talk to the pediatrician to set up transfer. And I just got him on the phone when she lost her pulse again. It hadn't been 2 or 3 minutes.
And what happened after that, ma'am?
We went back to kind of square one, doing CPR, compressing her chest, pounding on her heart to get it to work. And it just, a repeat gas showed that her oxygen level kept dropping. It became harder and harder to push air into her lungs. We had to take her back off the vent because it wasn't successful, and we had to do it manually to sort of push enough pressure to open up her lungs.
Were you able to get that heart started again, Dr. Fox?
We had some electrical activity, but we never got a pulse again.
Can you give these ladies and gentlemen an idea of how long you and the other staff worked to try to save her life once she got to the emergency room?
It was at least an hour of doing, I won't, even if I don't think that there's a very good chance of.
I believe around 5:05 or somewhere right around that area, a little after that, you finally pronounced her dead.
It was roughly an hour. We know that, and I'm not going to call a child dead until we've worked on her at least an hour.
Okay. Now, Dr. Fox, did you notice any injuries to this child's head when she came into the emergency room that afternoon?
I did, actually, and we were trying to, we established, we roll them and look quickly to see what's going on, just to see if there's any extraneous injuries or activity or whatever. And one of the things that you do first on is to take off the rest of her clothes so that we can see what's going on, that we have access to her femoral arteries, access to her brachial arteries. But in doing so, we also check for other trauma to make sure we're not missing something. And I didn't see anything on the back. I didn't see anything, but there were bruising. It was actually red marks when she first came on her forehead, and there was some reddish to light purple marks on her right shoulder.
I'd like to show you a couple of photographs, ma'am. Could you step down over here, Doctor? The redness or the marks that you saw on the forehead, they were not this color when you first saw them.
They were a little bit more red, but I do remember that when she first got here, you predominantly saw one streaking red mark with the second one here. This actually came up to be more obvious later. But these two, it's just...
Those were the most dominant ones?
Those were the most dominant ones.
In your experience, can you give us an idea? Did these look like recent injuries or fresh injuries, ma'am?
Just for the course of what I witnessed, I would say that yes, that does had to have happened roughly before or shortly during the time around.
Caused any of this bruising to this child's head?
I did not. I don't. On adults, there's a tape that will go across the forehead to secure their head to a backboard. In her case, she was small enough that the neck support that we had initially got her in was enough to secure that, and putting that much apparatus on her basically obscures so that you can't get to the airway or get to the child.
So that's the reason that you don't put a child on a board such as that or on a device such as that?
Well, there's pediatric life boards, and it's just not, it wasn't necessary in her particular case.
All right. Thank you, Doctor. After you made the decision that the life-saving efforts were unsuccessful, what did you do in regard to this child?
During any kind of resuscitative efforts, we always try to look for family to get more information, the story, medical problems, allergies, whatever. But it wasn't, it was known that this was a life flight in from an outlying county, and it would be a while before we got family. But after it just became obvious that there wasn't going to be anything further I could do, we called the code and I looked for family.
Were you able to meet with any of her relatives or her mother?
I was told that it was her mother and I think it was her mother's boyfriend that it was introduced to me.
And did you tell her what you had done and that her daughter had died?
I tried to inform them as gently as possible that there was nothing else left to do. We had done everything in our best efforts, and I was afraid that her daughter had died.
Okay. Now, you were the one that actually told her that her daughter had died. Is that correct?
I believe so.
And from talking with other witnesses, I understand that was an emotional time for you. I would, if you remember, ma'am, what was the mother's demeanor when you told her that?
It actually was, it struck me odd because it was almost calming to me to look into her eyes, and she didn't really have much of a reaction, and it just was very flat.
Unemotional.
I remember it distinctly because I was thinking it was better that she didn't.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fox.
Mr. Smith?
Dr. Fox, to the best of your recollection,
how did you find out that Adrianna had drowned in a swimming pool, sir?
I was on my way home from work and Brenda called me from her job, told me, and I went over to work.
What did you do as a result of that call?
I went over to the house. What happened?
Did you meet your wife there at the scene, Miss Burns there at the scene?
Later, yes.
What did you observe when you got there that day, sir?
Just, sheriff department, everything there.
Was Alan Carnley there when you got there?
Yes.
What was he doing, if you recall, sir?
He was out in the yard with Amanda.
Okay. Amanda was still there?
Yes.
What was she doing, sir?
Standing there at somebody's pickup. I don't know who it was.
And what, if anything, was she doing, sir? What, if anything, was she doing, sir?
Nothing I remember, because she wasn't, I didn't talk to her. I just seen her over there. And she was turned towards the truck, so I didn't see her or talk to her.
So you didn't have a chance to speak with her or gauge her emotions or anything?
No.
Were arrangements made for her to be able to go down to the hospital in Bay County to be with Adrianna?
Yes, somebody took her down there. I don't know who it was, somebody, the sheriff department or somebody.
As a result of that, did you or your wife make arrangements to take care of A.J. Hutto that day?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that, sir.
I spoke with the sheriff, and he told me I could take him. And I told him, take him to the house, and I took him to the house.
He rode with you?
Right.
What does he refer to you as, sir?
Paul Chuck.
Paul Chuck. And his grandmother, what does he call her?
Granny.
On the way to the house, did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
All right. Now, after you got home, as a result of that conversation, what did you do?
I talked with his grandmother, Brenda, and then we called the sheriff department and brought him down here.
When you got him to the sheriff's department, I believe he was interviewed that day.
Yes.
Did you sit in on that interview?
Yes.
Was his grandmother in for that interview, sir?
She came in when it started and she left.
Why did she leave?
Because she was upset.
Okay, all right. So you were there while the officers were interviewing him?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I don't want you to tell us what was said, but was A.J. alert that day?
Yes.
Was he able to answer questions, sir?
Yes.
After the interview was over with, what did you do?
We went to the hospital in Panama City.
When you got down to the hospital, did you find out whether or not Adrianna had survived? Or when did you find
yes,
that out?
Yes, that's what we went down there for. She hadn't.
Did you meet with Amanda that night? Did you and your wife meet with her? Or
yes.
Did you see her, sir?
No, just saw her.
Okay. What was her demeanor, if you recall, sir?
It was just Amanda. I mean...
For us, for some people in here, most people in here may not know her. What do you mean by that, sir?
Probably like she is now.
Now, you'd been in the family 3 years or so, is that right?
I know her right after she was born. We went to the same church together.
Okay. Was Adrianna afraid of water?
Absolutely.
You knew that?
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen her around water before, sir?
Just when she'd go take a bath, Brenda would give her a bath when she was at our house. I never known her been in a pool or nothing.
So her grandmother knew that she was afraid of water?
Right.
Did everybody in the family knew of this fear that she had of water?
Immediate family, as far as I know.
Thank you. No further questions this week.
Mr. Smith?
She didn't like to take a bath.
Well, I mean, periodically I would run her water, for Brenda, and then I'd give AJ a bath, and then she'd go in there to give Adrianna a bath. You know, I
Right.
never was in there when she gave her a bath.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to pin down that your observations of Adrianna really are strictly tied to taking baths, right? And apparently she didn't like to take a bath. Is that accurate?
Yeah, she just said there was too much water in her usually. She
Okay.
wouldn't get in.
All right, thank you.
She was my granddaughter.
You helped raise Adrianna, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
Did she live the first few months of her life with you?
Yes, sir.
How did that come to be, ma'am?
Amanda lived with me at the time, and she joined the National Guard. And shortly after she joined the National Guard, she found out she was pregnant. So they couldn't send her off to boot camp. And after she went through her 6 weeks, they sent her to boot camp, and I kept Adrianna.
You kept Adrianna while she was an infant there, while Amanda went off to boot camp?
Yes.
How long was she gone to boot camp, Ms. Burns?
2 or 3 months. She injured her leg while she was there, and she had to stay till they could discharge her.
So she was unable to finish her assignment there and got discharged from the National Guard.
Right.
When she came back, she was living with you.
Yes, sir.
And Adrianna continued to live with you.
Yes, sir.
How long? Can you give us an idea how long Amanda lived with you, ma'am? After Adrianna was born?
She lived with me even after she married, and I believe Adrianna was probably about 3.5 years old. I call him Boo.
Boo? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you continue to have contact with Boo and Adrianna? Did you call her Adrianna, or what did you call her, ma'am?
She was my pumpkin.
Pumpkin, okay. Did you continue to have contact with Boo and Pumpkin after they moved out?
Yes, sir.
Now let me ask you this, ma'am. How did Adrianna like the water?
She didn't like the water.
Did she have a fear of water?
Yes.
Can you explain what you mean when you say she had a fear of water?
Just when you would give her a bath, she didn't want much water in the tub, and she didn't want you washing her hair. She didn't want her head under the water. I mean, just to wash her hair. She just cried.
Ever since she was an infant?
No, sir. I think it first started after they moved out.
But you noticed that she didn't like her head under the water. Now, when you washed her hair, you gave her baths. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you washed her hair, how would you have to wash this child's hair?
Mainly just, most of the time, just take a cup and rinse her hair, wet her hair, and then wash it and rinse it. I always give her a washcloth to put over her face.
What about bath water? Did she like taking tub baths, or did she not like a lot of water, or did she rather take a shower? You tell us, ma'am.
If she took a bath, she didn't want very much water.
What do you mean very much?
Just barely.
Take a shower instead of taking water? I mean, taking a tub bath?
She liked that a little bit better, yes.
Did you ever have an opportunity to see her around water other than just bath water? And I'm talking about either around a swimming pool or a lake or the beach or something like that, ma'am.
Yes, sir. We would take them to the beach. And she would get right at the edge, but she wouldn't get in the water. She would run back.
She didn't like to get in the water even on those occasions?
No, sir.
How did you Did Adrianna potty train, ma'am?
She was potty trained before they moved out of the house with us. And then after they moved up there, Adrianna just had little problems.
She regressed.
She did.
She got where she would urinate on herself.
Yes, sir.
And that got to be a pretty common thing for her, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Even after she got into school?
Yes, sir.
Right up until she died on August the 8th.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was just a common problem that you knew, and people in the family, the immediate family knew that this was a problem with her.
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, did she have any behavioral problems? And by that I mean, did you know that she had ever been diagnosed with ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder? Did you know that, Ms. Burns?
I know. I believe so. I know that Amanda told me that they had diagnosed her as being bipolar.
Okay. All right. Was she a behavioral problem, ma'am?
She was headstrong.
Okay.
You know.
Had you had a chance to see her after she had been placed on medication?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that seem to help?
It did.
Can you give us an idea of what your relationship was with your daughter, Amanda, back in the summer of 2007? And I'm talking about July, August time period, ma'am.
It was a little bit strained because we didn't always agree.
Okay.
But we still talked once or twice, sometimes 3 times a week. You know,
Either in person or on the phone?
Mostly on the phone, but she would come by where I was working and see me.
Well, let me back up from there. Did she tell you, did you have a conversation with her a week or so before August the 8th about some toys?
Yes, sir. She called me at work and told me that she had done something that I probably wasn't going to like. And I asked her what it was, and she told me that she had thrown away all of their toys because she couldn't get them to pick them up, and she was tired of, trying to keep their room clean.
And she had thrown the toys away?
That's what she told me, yes, sir.
Now, you and Mr. Burns had given them a lot of the toys the preceding Christmas, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How did you react when she told you that?
Well, she knew I didn't like it.
Okay. How did you learn that Adrianna had drowned on August the 8th?
I was at work, and I got a call from Holmes County Sheriff's Department, Harry Hamlin.
Did you go over there to the Carnley home, ma'am?
I did.
Was your daughter there when you got there?
Yes, sir.
Did you have any interaction with her on that occasion?
Well, I had went up to her and asked her what had happened, and they were in the process of leaving to go to Panama City, so she left, and I didn't get to say much to her.
Did you have a chance to observe her demeanor or anything at that time?
She was just stunned.
I understand that AJ, y'all made arrangements for AJ to go home with you and your husband at the time, Paul Chuck.
Yes, sir.
Later, when he got there with AJ, y'all had a conversation, and then where did you take AJ?
Back to the Sheriff's Department.
After the Sheriff's, and I understand you sat in on part of that interview at the Sheriff's Department.
I did.
Okay. Was AJ upset during that interview?
No, sir, he didn't seem to be.
Was he alert or sleepy, ma'am?
No, sir. He was alert.
After he got through with that interview, what happened? What did you and Mr. Burns and AJ do?
We left and went to Panama City to the hospital.
When you arrived at the hospital, is that when you found out that Adrianna had not survived? Or did you know before you got there?
I knew before.
Did you have any contact with your daughter that night, ma'am?
We didn't talk. We were both there, but we didn't talk.
Did you have an opportunity to observe her demeanor then, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would you describe that for the jury, please?
She was just kind of numb and cold, I guess.
2 August of last year. Did you have one or more conversations with your daughter about whether or not she felt she had bonded with Adrianna when she was a child, when she was an infant?
Yes, sir. This was right after she started seeing the psychologist or the doctor that she was seeing. She told me that she didn't feel like they had had a chance to bond because she was gone when Adrianna was so small.
And you're talking about when Adrianna was seeing the psychologist?
Yes, sir.
And did she indicate to you, or from your observations, ma'am, of her in your presence and your conversations with her, did she seem to have, your daughter seemed to have a short temper with Adrianna?
Yeah, Judge, character evidence at this point.
Objections over.
You may answer the question.
Yes, sir. She did have a short temper with her at times.
How about AJ? Did she have a short temper with AJ?
Not as much.
If I could have just a moment.
Clerk, at this time, if you would read the verdict for the court, please.
State of Florida versus Amanda Elaine Lewis, case number 07282 CF. Verdict, defendant Amanda Elaine Lewis as to count 1 in this case. The defendant is guilty as charged of first-degree felony murder. We, the jury, find as follows as to the defendant Amanda Elaine Lewis as to count 2 in this case. The defendant is guilty as charged of aggravated child abuse. So say we all, dated this 22nd day of February, 2008, signed Eugene E. person.
Okay, members of the jury, the clerk is going to ask each of you one question individually. I would like for you to respond to that question either with yes or no. Madam Clerk, if you leave any personal items in the jury room? Okay. All right, your jury service is complete at this time. There are only 2 possible penalties that can be imposed for the crime of first-degree felony murder. They are either death or life imprisonment. This court adjudges you to be guilty of that crime and sentences you to imprisonment in the Florida Department of Corrections for the remainder of your life.
Amanda received a sentence of life without parole and is still in prison to this day. She tried to file a petition in 2010 which was denied. Her son, AJ, was adopted after the trial and she never saw her son again after the trial.
I thought he meant she was standing beside the pool splashing in the water. I looked out the back door and that's when I could barely see her. I put her on the ground and tried to get the water to drain out and started doing CPR.
Do you have a message for him?
Mommy loves him. And I'm not mad at him, not one bit. I want him to be happy. I want him to do good. And that I hope one day to see him again. His hope is that I can try to somewhat rebuild what little bit of a life I do have left.
You know that it's possible that AJ will change his testimony, recant. Do you pray for that day?
I do. I pray for the day that I go home and he comes to me. That's the little bit of hope I have left. It's the fact that one day he will get old enough and he'll realize what has happened and come back